Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I've got a really shocking clip that I'm going to be sharing with you on stimulus checks. This is your stimulus check update now. I'm going to share with you the entire video footage in the whole interview. So nothing is taken out of context. But I'm going to share with you just right now. Please believe the small clip and I gonna know your thoughts. Let me know, do Americans want to for federal level stimulus check? Or are they not concerned with it? Do you feel like a full federal level stimulus check actually helped and will help? Or are you more concerned with the inflation or debt and stopping these stimulus bills? Arkansas Senator said, the regular man on the street is talking about inflation. The fact that his food is going up dramatically, his guys are blind. He knows he's going to be colder this winter. Those are things that American public care about. Nobody asking me to get checked. Travel man said, interesting by the way is one of the boards that lead beside the check on the stock market spring didn't really work. It didn't really take, and that includes, by the way, the child care allowance, which is essentially just direct funding, didn't really take. That was Lori Keller and Arkansas Senator Ombudsman both saying that stimulus checks and child tax credit, neither of them really kind of stuck or did any good, and people aren't asking for those. Right now, they're actually asking to deal with inflation and debt and other issues. Now, I will be sure to keep you up to date. I'm going to share with you entire clip and you are going to hear the conversative perspective on this saying. We need to stop the stimulus provision, stop debt, stop inflation. It's time to put end to this thing. And they are arguing Senator Chomachin to get on board with ending this bill, as he is that one the country's moderate Senate Democrats that is saying he thinks that this bill maybe shouldn't go through. Now, on the other end, as I reported to you, we are hearing that Democrats and the president are trying to get Chomachin on board to pass this bill through. But some are getting fed up. Take a look at this article, just come out an hour ago. You guys, the second-ranked Senate Democrats are daring the Chomachin to S1 and C Biden agenda, saying, listen, this time to put up and shut up, either sink the bill or pass it, but I cannot have any more courtesy to porno than delaying. Let's go ahead and either pass this or stop it. But we cannot have any more kicking can down the road, taking more time to get this done, you guys. But take a look, some of the Senate Democrats want to put the motion on the spot about the $2 trillion bill. It's come at that time. We have got to say it's time to put up or shut up, said Richard Duffy. But pressuring motion is higher stake vote that could blow the Democrats in face, because they literally need every single Democratic senator to pass this through in the Senate through the reconciliation. The way the Senate is structured, 50 Republicans, 50 Democrats, so with the majority vote, they got to get every single one on board, you guys. Now, I be sure to give you an update on this. We have the President Trump Biden meet with him. We have been Democrats continually taking with him and we're trying to do negotiations. And we heard that he said he wants to through the child tax credit now as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at this video footage that came out the conservative perspective on this bill and how they're saying stimulus checks. Well, we may not need them, people don't necessarily care about them anymore, and they are not concerned. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Let's take a look at this video footage. It's what's going on right now with the Republicans' Congress stimulus reconciliation bill Build Back Better, and where things stand. Let's go ahead and take a look. A senator said, well, again, Trump Biden called the CBO the golden standard of budget, scoring the while back, but now they are all singing a different tone. Democrats saying this fake. Joining me now to talk about this and some other things, we welcome Arkansas Center, Chairman, Senator Chairman. Welcome, sir. Just you know, I found this memo from Secretary Janet Yellen, and she says explicitly, I wrote it in the first block, basically that Biden's plan was always to be permanent, but they make something temporary in order to achieve their consensus. Now, you know, if that isn't too thrilling and inadvertently, then the COP have this story exactly right. They knew what they are doing the senior men. They knew exactly what they were doing with this gimmick, and basically the CBO poured them on it and get it right. Arkansas Senator Lee. No, you are exactly right. You could go down and listen to congressional testimony debate as you talk about this thing, and you always said they wanted to get these things permanent, and you know the gimmick is that you have to pay for over 10 years for their entitlement the last only year. So it's absolutely crazy. I think we need to give the Lindsey Graham the big thanks, a ranking member on the budget committee. He did a great job in really pressing CBO to score this. And it's not just CBO, Larry. As you know, there's been a couple outside the Wharton School of Business. They come out and there was very much the same thing as CBO told. The senator said, so I don't know on the floor you got. What do you got 2 weeks till Christmas or some such? How can this argument from Democrats start discovering to fact to use your phrase? So how can that hold up? Everybody knew it was keep the secret on the town center. That's what I'm saying. Now remember, there are things that are legitimately up for debate. I get that I've been in or out of the game for quite some time, but this thing, this was kept a secret in Washington, was this gimmick, and CBO just scored on him, and a few years ago Biden himself called the CBO the golden standard. I'm not pressing the point because there are so much popular need, and this one of the reasons why Trump Biden's board are crashing, including his board on the Senate on the House Committee. Okay, people think this is dishonest, which it is. Arkansas Senator said, well, I think what happened was Trump machine said, look, I want to build that comes in about $1.5 trillion around the range, and so somebody at the same point said, okay, we got to do this, and then they craft this bill used to smoke and nervous to get in theoretically by you and by using the gimmick and this and that. So they were at one rank to try and get vote on the center mansion. The problem we got is that even has come out and said, look, this is not right. And the CBO is saying these other outside inheritors are scoring at the same way. And so because of that, we have got real problem. It's selling in the public. I think you are exactly right, I think. That's why President Biden has unprecedented low numbers right now. Yeah, and I think John McCain, down now at least in the West Virginia, have very high poor numbers because he been too tailored and he been consistent. Yes, right. The only thing I could say is that it's really remarkable. It seemed like yesterday myself and several other senators would come over the White House. President Trump would be sitting across from us, and you would be right to his right with your team. And we were talking about the cutting taxes, having the cut taxes. We were talking about reducing regulation and have the best economy in 50 years. Now we are talking about the 6.8 inflation. And when I go home, I thought it were really interesting as you were visiting in the panel. When I come home and business people are talking about the labor and they're talking about the supply chain, things like that. The regular man on the street is talking about inflation. The fact that his food is going up dramatically, his gains alive, he knows he's going to be colder this winter because of the 30 to 35% increase in heating. Those are things that American public care about. Nobody asking me to get a check, the senator said. Interesting that, by the way, in what is the core of the least big sided, the standard stuff last spring didn't really work, and it didn't really take that included. By the way, the child care allowance, which is essentially just direct funding didn't really take. There have been budgets for a few for federal level stimulus check. We'll also see petition coming out for almost 3 million people now signing, saying they not only like to get the full check but also monthly recruiting check, and mostly about 1% of the nation, and there is at least a small group that we know of that is favored to getting check. But we are also hearing that here we have member of Congress saying that I don't believe that is one of the top priorities right now. That is top priority is stop to debt and inflation, and one of the ways to do that is stop any more check or stimulus provisions. Right now, the current stimulus reconciliation bill trying to pass doesn't have the full federal level check. Now we have also heard that maybe another stimulus reconciliation bill coming 2022, as we heard from President Joe Biden and the Speaker House Nancy Pelosi both saying there will be another bill and a lot of provisions that is missed in this one, and we are going to include it in the next one. Now we see, because right now they are having some issues that with the current one, and I will keep you up to date either way here on channel, whatever in Fox. As all those negotiations are taking place right now, we also heard from the Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer just yesterday, and also today giving confirmation that he believes that they are going to get everything done, include the Build Back Better Stimulus Reconciliation Bill by Christmas. And thank you so much for joining me. Bye.